Lecture 4 starts now. Like I opened discussion C with, I'm glad you're making it through this class. I'm glad you're hanging in there, and I encourage you once again, hang in there. In discussion C, we talked about emails. In this one, today's the day, we're talking about resumes. Resumes are not going away. True, they have moved over to digital today, and a lot of them have to be scannable, and they have keywords, and there's a whole new aspect to it. But the idea of putting everything about you, your education and your experiences, your abilities, your skills, your wants, your needs, all of it, putting it onto a piece of paper, whether that's a digital paper or a paper, that's not going away. It's not. So I want to talk to you today about that and just give you some keys and give you some questions. Star, circle. This might surprise you. There's no rules when it comes to resumes. There's not. There's no rules. You can go to a book. You can go to our textbook. You can go to any book. Like, there's a book called How to Say It at Work, How to Say It at Work 2, and How to Say It at Work 3. It's a series of books on how to communicate at work. And they're going to have hard, rigid rules. They made those rules up. There's some guidelines. Should you spell correctly? Yes. But does it need to be on 14-point paper or 10-point paper or 10-weight paper, 14-weight paper? It's more of a guideline. It's more of a rule of thumb. Does that make sense? There's no hard rules. There's no hard rules at all. But I'm going to give you kind of some guidelines, maybe a big river that you can float down. You can float over here and do it this way and float over here and do it, but we're all headed in the same direction. I hope that makes sense. Guideline 1, especially at your all's place in life, 1 page. No more than 1 page. If you can't get it onto 1 page, you're telling us too much stuff. There's people that are later in their career. I need about 3 right now. But if you're an undergraduate student, a page, no more than a page. That's it, 1 page. No more, this is a guideline, no more than 2 letter styles. Most people call them fonts. Letter styles, that's the fancy term. So no more than 2 fonts or 2 letter styles. That's it. Keep it nice and neat and tidy. Don't be changing up those fonts. You can take the same font and italicize it or maybe bold it, but it's still the same font. Does that make sense? So no more than 2 different ones. And within those 2, you can do bold, italices, that kind of thing. All caps if you get crazy. How about number 3, have good contact info, good info. Like an accurate address. I talked about in discussion C, these are going together really well this week, that you should have and I use this term, big girl or big boy email address. I'm going to tell you that again, good contact info with a good email address, and I think that's super important. I've had students push back on me over the email address thing. I don't know. That's my opinion, and that's the textbook's opinion, is that we should present just to put our best foot forward with our choice of email address. Number 4, limited color. Definitely have black text. Definitely black. Your text, your actual text of it should be black, because a lot of those are going to be scanned in and the computer's going to be looking for that, plus it's just professional. But otherwise, if you're going to have some flourishes or any sort of artwork or a logo or any of those kind of things, or little lines that are nice, different colors, no more. Limited color, I use 2. I've seen some 3 color logos that are just really well done. Rule of thumb, we're going down the river. Rule of thumb, 2, maybe 3 at the most if the text is black. And maybe you have 2 colors around your name or something like that. But keep it limited and keep it professional. That's really the guideline, the river to flow down. Number 5, this one's important. Underline, bold, italices, all caps, important. Have consistent formatting. If you make a choice to put graduated high school diploma, let me do it backwards for y'all so you'll see it's a high school diploma, Daniel Boone High School, these are spaces, May 2024. When you come down to your college education, it should be the same, what's called a treatment. This one was high school diploma. This should say Associate of Science in Communication. Not communications, communication. Same treatment. Space, where it says Daniel Boone High School, this should say Northeast State Community College. And if this is bold, this should be bold. If this one's italicized, this should be italicized. But the spaces should be the same. Too often, and then over here, the date should be the same. I think we said May 2024. Down here, you'll say May 2026. Or you could just put 2024 and 2026. But they need to be the same all the way down. That's an important key. That's the middle of the river where everybody at some point should be. It doesn't matter whether you do a little italices or a little bold or have a little flourish in there. It should be the same treatment all the way down. Usually most people start with contact info, and then there's no rules, but contact info, then about, and then education, work experience, and references, or some variation thereof. But each of those sections should look identical. The spacing should be identical. The font sizes should be identical. And you may have your education, and then underneath it in a 1 or 2 point smaller font in italices, a little bit of information about the big one. Then you have another big one and some smaller stuff underneath it that matches this. This is hard to do orally here instead of visually, but I think you'll be able to find some stuff. So number 6 is the final output should be a PDF until something else is created that's more easily passed out to all computers. PDF is your final goal. .pdf. That's it. That's everything about resumes. That is it. That is all you need. It's that easy. I have so many students go, oh, it's business class, so we're going to learn resumes and interviews. Yeah, sort of, but both of those are pretty quick and pretty easy. Like neither one of those are that big of a deal. Question 1, assignment for today. Question 1, find a good source for resume formatting, resume ideas. Find a good source, not some hot garbage website that's the first thing in Google when you type in how to make a resume into Google, the first piece of junk that pops up. Unless that piece of junk is amazing and then it's not junk. But find a good source. So question 1, tell us the source. Give us a link. But tell us, show us, just send us so we can all jump around and look at different places. Find something better than the top 3 things on Google because we're all going to be turning in the same thing. Find something interesting, a nice source for learning Google. eHow is probably not the one. Quora is probably not the one. Wikipedia, maybe not. Maybe not. Find something good. Question 1, find a good source. Just tell us. Just tell us. Question 2, create a resume. Your resume, accurate, concise, single page, no more than 2 fonts, good contact info, limited color, consistent formatting. Maybe even use that. And by the way, pause. Please, for the love of Pete and Peter, do better than going to Word and just using their resume template. It's overdone. And any employer worth their salt will recognize the low effort. It should look better than that. It should look better than that. It's fine using Word, it's fine. But those garbage templates, I'm being a little harsh today in my words, but work with me. Those garbage templates are just that, hot garbage, often. Most of them are. Question 1, find a good source. 2, create your resume and your final output should be a PDF. Question 2, show it to us. You can use the Insert Stuff button, the Insert Stuff. It's a good one. Insert Stuff works pretty well, and then you can upload it from there. But I want to see your resume. And 3, tell us, this is important, tell us the thought process behind your resume. My career is in wildlife, and that's why I use some earth tones, and that's why I use the little tree in the bottom, because I'm going to be working with wildlife and wildlife resources agencies. So that's why I went kind of earthy. I wanted to come across professional. I wanted to come across as not just professional, but also organized. So tell us your thought process. I'm going to be working in the public relations field. I found this resource that this is how people in my field tend to interact with each other. So I'm trying to match their communication style. My goals also were organized and professional. Let me know. Let us know. What and why? What's your thought process? Why are you thinking that way? When I was in my 20s, I tried to set myself out, set myself apart, and I did a little booklet with a little staple, and it was just like a little 4-page booklet. It was real quick, real easy. It was nice size, and I mailed that out looking for jobs, and I had a lot of responses. A lot of responses. Johnny, this is, and it looked really, really good. It looked really amazing, but I was sort of in a creative field, and I had big responses from that. That was my thought process, was to set myself apart from other people, to not follow the rules, but also to be within the creative industry that I was in at the time, to stand out within that industry and be appropriate. That resume is very different than you're headed to law school, you're headed to medical school, and you're trying to create a medical CV. A lot of people call them CVs. You're going to find a lot of resources where they call it a CV, a curriculum vitae, or they'll just call them a VITA, V-I-T-A-E. But I want to ask you, what's your thought process there? Find a good source, create a resume PDF, and then what's your thought process and why? Discuss with 5 students also, hey, I liked what you did here, explain that to me. Or, hey, did you notice that hey, Riley, in your high school you said May, 2024, but in your college you just said 2024. You skipped it. Maybe critique each other's, but discuss with a minimum. It's a discussion. You can discuss with everybody if you want. Can't wait to see what y'all come up with your I'm excited about this week. I do like resume week. That really is the truth. It's one of my favorite things we do in here, because I kind of get to see you all mapping out your life. And finally, and here's my favorite part, I've had students come back to me and they go, like 6 years later, and go, oh my gosh, I got my first real job. Oh, wow. And they said, I used the resume that I created in your class. Really? Yeah, I just updated. I kept it updated. The point is this: some of you all, this file that you are creating for this class, most of you will probably use Word. If you will just keep refreshing it every few months, 6 months, after every chapter of your life changes, this is going to be the same file you use 5 years from now when you apply for a big job. And that is kind of cool. Can't wait to see what y'all come up with.